Welcome to Tablenauts. My name is Mac.
And I'm Batman. And welcome to Crime Week.
In Crime Week, we're going to be playing and showcasing some of our favorite crime-themed board games and also giving them back to you. Like and subscribe to our channel and comment on the video to be entered in to win today's game. There will be details and restrictions pinned in the comments down below. However, beyond that, go to our friends channel at Foster The Meeple, linked in the description, and subscribe to them. For every 25 subscribers they get during Crime Week, we'll be giving away another game. So, every 100 subscribers is 4 games.
And I'm here to tell you that a hero can be anyone, including a man who puts a coat around a young boy's arms to comfort him, or anyone who goes to our friends channel and hits the subscribe button. And on top of that, you might get a chance at getting a cool board game. Who doesn't like that? Max, tell them about when this will end, and then you have my permission to die.
Oh, the contest ends after this week, and we will be tallying up the subscribers that they've received and notifying the winners soon after that, and we'll send you some games.
Yes.
Welcome to Crime Week.
And don't forget, subscribe to me!
Before you turn away.
Yeah, no, go ahead. We love this game. Go to the Kickstarter.
I want to mention a specific
because I think it's available now.
Asterisk right now. I don't love base Chronicles of Crime.
Really?
I don't think it's bad. I think Chronicles of Crime, base, core box, whatever, is fine.
Okay.
I've not played Noir. I've not played Redview, even though I have them.
I mean, he did just get them. Don't hold that against him.
Yeah, that's true. I think base Chronicles of Crime is good. I think it's a good game.
Okay.
Just not a game that I particularly love.
Okay.
And I think 1900 did enough that I really do enjoy it. And it's not just a game that I will play because others want to play with me, but a game that I will actively seek out. Chronicles of Crime 1900 is an app-driven crime-solving game.
Yes.
If you can see the table in front of us, we've got different locations, different people, different clues and items. We've got people that we know exactly where they are. We've got people that we don't know where they are. We've got puzzles that need solving.
Yes, we do.
We've got everything you can dream of in a Paris 1900 setting.
Almost everything you can dream of.
In this game, we are going to be using an app on our phone to scan these QR codes of different locations,
and that's
people, and items. And that's basically it. It tells a story
Mm-hmm.
that you try and piece together. It gives you the strings, and it's your job to pin them to a board and find out where they connect.
Yes.
Eventually, attempting to solve the crime. It is somewhat timed in the sense that every time you make an investigation or talk to somebody or go somewhere, the timer does start to tick up.
Yeah.
And you have to have an answer by the time the timer reaches its end. It's not something that's necessarily like pushing you the entire time, but when it says you've got 1 hour remaining, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
like, whoa.
That's when you're like, all right, slow down there,
This is
person
real.
with the camera.
Yeah, stop scanning every single thing you can and let's think
already
about
looked
this.
at the furniture like 5 times.
In this game, you are trying to solve the crime, essentially. We don't want to get into spoilers because we want you to be able to enjoy this yourselves. But we've both played most of the missions in this game. We haven't played everything this game has to offer, which I think is good. And I believe there's another one coming out. So it's not the end. I know with both with the base Chronicles of Crime, they released a couple free ones as well as stuff like Redview and Noir that are just actual expansions to add on to it.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have no idea what the content plans are for 1900.
Base game-wise, I do think that this comes with a lot. And
Yes, and it's also not a very expensive game.
No.
I think it's 30. I think. I do wholeheartedly recommend this one, even if you weren't a big fan of Chronicles of Crime base. I mean, I guess we can just jump right in and talk about it. Why do I feel that way? Do you know the answer to this question already?
I would say that theme alone has to be helpful.
It's not the theme.
Really?
I do like the theme.
I was going to say, like, just as a person who's not played the original, this immediately jumped out at me. I love anything like early 1900s crime based. Anyway, well, I really like the theme. That's what we were talking about, where you're questioning every single person. You're going over their words, making sure that they're not, lying to you. You're checking that off with all of the evidence that you already have and questioning them about all of those different things, which I loved. Like the fact that in a board game without a DM, I can have conversations with people about the things that I have is so unique and so cool.
What was the one thing that makes this game so drastically different, and why I enjoy it so much more than the base Chronicles of Crime?
You
I'll interrupt you.
Want to live in Paris.
So in the base Chronicles of Crime, I enjoy it.
You want me to move with you to Paris?
Yes, I enjoy it, but I think that the majority of the time
we're moving to Paris secretly by the end of this episode.
Yes, the majority of the time that I'm playing Chronicles of Crime, the core game.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you good?
I can't think of anything else.
The majority of the time that I'm playing Chronicles of Crime, the core game, I felt like I was reading and thinking and answering questions and doing a lot of guessing. And in the end, I felt like, oh great, I succeeded, but I didn't really know. Like, I never felt smart.
Okay.
I got to the end result because of me scanning a million things and me happening to guess the right one, but I never felt smart.
Okay.
And in 1900, it's the one simple thing. It's the puzzles that make me feel smart.
So they didn't have these?
No, the puzzles are not in the core game.
That hurts it so bad.
The puzzles are not in the core game, and the puzzles make me feel smart.
Oh, it's so
we don't want
good.
to get into spoilers, but for example, you're reading a passage talking about the person was blindfolded but heard this on the left and blah blah blah, and you've got the map in front of you and you're trying to draw out the way that they navigated and were taken and whatnot, and things like that made me feel smart. And I never really had that experience with Chronicles of Crime, the core game. I enjoyed it the whole way through, but it was more of a storytelling aspect, and I enjoyed it nonetheless, but it wasn't something that I was really drawn to. Whereas this, just with the puzzles alone, the Morse code puzzles, the ones with the different jewelry that you're trying to investigate to see what's different about that gives you a hint, and those puzzles are just what really entices me to this game. It made me feel smart, and it made me have way more fun with this than it did with the core game.
How do they not have that beforehand?
I don't know.
Those are so good. It makes you feel, when you have these and you're like comparing everything and you have the map and you have like other huge puzzle pieces, you're like, have you ever been to an escape room before?
Yeah.
Like, it gives me that rush where I'm like, oh wait. Oh, it's this.
Right.
And like
it's upside down.
Like feel really great. Like I can totally see why you didn't feel smart playing Chronicles of Crime.
It's probably mostly because I'm not smart, but
he's smart.
It's also just the way those puzzles work just work for me. And maybe you won't care about them as much as I did, but I genuinely think that the puzzles made the difference. I think the storytelling is probably a little bit better, and it's probably because this is their fourth iteration, not standalone games, but after doing expansions for the core game, they've probably just improved on the quality of their writing and the way they tell stories. And I think the 1900 is the best of the bunch so far. But the puzzles, man, the puzzles are so cool, and they just get me so excited, and they make me feel good that I'm solving a crime, not that I'm being told a story and I'm kind of guessing what the crime was at the end of it. Genuinely, that's the biggest thing for me.
Can I tell you what did it for me? So in any board game, and if you look at my top 20, because you can now, something that always makes a board game hit really, really well for me is if I forget that I'm sitting at a table staring at cardboard and I'm suddenly lost in this world and excited about what is happening and feel like I'm controlling and I'm affecting things. This game makes me feel that way so much so. Like even just the way everything's organized, where I know these people are at this location, these people are here, I can go there, I can talk to them about anything on this board. I have complete control over that. There's also these things that I'm trying to find. There's also music playing in the background, and I highly recommend that. I did this with Emily, connecting it to a Bluetooth speaker and just having it playing in the room that you're going in.
Right.
And
some ambience.
And it's so, like, all of it's different depending on the location you're at, depending on what's going on in the scene.
Yeah, you're in the street, you hear cars honking.
You're at your original place. There's a little typewriter going on. Like, it's all really nice and well done, with the goal in mind of making you feel like you're here, not just staring at cards and trying to bunch of QR codes like you're like a grocery worker trying to
and
find out
much
what
agree,
things are worth.
And I don't know why it is, but I think that that's enough of a difference between the base game and this game too. I don't know if it's the storytelling that it's just improved that much. Like I said, I think it has improved, but I know when I play Chronicles of Crime, the core game, I'm mostly just experiencing fun with friends, and I am just scanning cards on a QR code. I know when I was playing 1900, I mean, I'm not very good at imagining things and putting myself in places. Everybody knows that, but for me, I was able to picture. I can't actually picture things, but I was able to imagine myself at the butcher with the butcher and the guy that was injured and stuff like that, and I was able to like just be there. Whereas most of the other times, I feel like I am just scanning QR codes, moving on to the next thing. I don't know what it is about 1900, but whenever I've played this game, this version, I feel much more involved and engaged in the story than I have in any of the other iterations. And I've still enjoyed the other iterations, but this one does a much better job of keeping me in the story and not on the table on the phone.
Absolutely. And I will say that even with the addition of these, they're like the base game mechanics are still very simple.
Yeah.
And very like I remember like you'd already played it and you wanted me to play the scenario that you've already played. So you were like, here, Josh, this is how you do this. This is how you talk to people.
I'll say I have fun watching you do it too.
Yeah.
But that's one of the best things about this game. There's no need for a rule book.
Yeah.
You download the app, you click, you can do a tutorial if you want, which you did not even do the tutorial.
No, I wanted to skip ahead.
And it's just so simple. It tells you what to do. I mean, it's very easy. It makes sense what you're doing. It all works together. I think we both have a little thing to say about the app because obviously if you're not someone who wants any kind of digital presence between you and the board game,
yes,
this is not going to be for you.
Yeah.
I will say if you felt the core games app took you out of it too much, I again feel like this one does a better job. This is a random anecdote that I have found 100% true every time I've played this game and every time I've played the core game, and I could not tell you why. Maybe someone from Lucky Duck can comment and say they've improved the QR codes or something. When I play the core game, the app does not work nearly as well for scanning the QR codes. It still works fine. It's not enough, and maybe that's half of why I'm taking it taken out of the game. It still works fine, but I'll find myself holding it for a solid 1 second, 1.5 seconds each time I need to scan it, and you have to be fairly overhead right on top. In 1900, I can literally scan one from 3 feet away if I wanted to.
So far away.
I don't understand why it's different than the core game.
Good.
But the app works way better in 1900.
You're absolutely right, because if that doesn't work well, this game, its pacing would feel off.
Yeah.
You would immediately lose what I was just talking about, that feeling of being there in that presence. No, I never felt like, oh, I'm annoyed because this isn't working.
No, 1900 works way better, and I don't know why, and I wish I did. And maybe it's just that I've played in poor circumstances on the base game with different lighting that's affected the way it's worked. But I mean, I feel like the lighting's been fine each time I've played, and 1900 just seems to function way quicker.
Yeah.
It's more speedy. What's the word? Snappy. That's the word I'm looking for.
Seamless.
Anyways, so seamless.
Yeah.
Great way. And you were going to mention something about the app. I know.
Yeah, so one of the biggest reasons why this isn't a complete home run with my family is Emily wasn't a huge fan of just using the app in general, but also specifically there are moments in the game where you'll find a new room that might have evidence in it, and you have to literally scan the room, and it's kind of like
the scene,
there's a lot of computer games where you can buy them, and it's simply just
Point
finding
and click, whatever.
finding the things in the room, and that's it. But the moment that you're done with that, you go through this deck and pull out every single thing that you saw, and then you can look at those using your QR code. But if you miss some things, you might miss huge pieces of evidence. And Emily was just like, well, this feels like a video game rather than a board game anymore. And I get that. There's probably some people who are just like, I'd rather just pull out the box, not even have to deal with playing a video game or doing anything like that. Right. But I do think that it is in the most basic form that anybody who doesn't play app games is still going to be okay with it.
Yeah,
enough
it's totally
to get
easy
past
to
it.
use. Yeah,
I will say, what is the recommended player count on this?
Oh, I don't know.
I think it's 1 to 4.
I think that 2 or maybe 3, but
I don't even know if 3 is good. I would.
So I've played the core Chronicles of Crime at 4.
Really?
And I still had a good time. This is with Danielle and her parents, and we all had a good time. But it's certainly more of a it's less of a, wow, we're here to solve a crime, and more of a, yeah, what do you think we should do? Should we check this? And especially when you're trying to lead someone in a game because they hadn't played yet before. So Danielle and I were both trying to give them the choice. But yeah, I certainly don't think it excels at 4. I'm not going to say it's unplayable because I think it's fine, but I think it's better at 2 or 1 even if you wanted to. I like having someone to bounce off of.
I was going to say 2 I feel like is best.
Yeah, I agree.
I just also personally prefer having somebody with me rather than being by myself.
Me too.
This would certainly be a fun experience by yourself, but and honestly, my favorite way I've played it so far is when one person has already played it and the other person hasn't. Well, that and I did the same thing with Emily. Because we went on and like we both didn't know, but like at the very first time we played, I watched her the same way you watched me, and there's just something so fun about like
knowing what happens and trying to see how they piece it together.
Oh my gosh, and like the wheels clicking for her, like there were some things that I got immediately that she didn't get for a while, and it was like, but then there were some things that she like immediately got, and I was like, wait, how did you learn that then?
Right.
I didn't learn that until like 3 clues later. Like, what did you get? What?
Well, you also don't always see the same stuff.
Absolutely.
I mean, in the game that I played, I saw an extra puzzle or something. It was some pretty serious clues that you didn't even see.
Yeah.
And you still came to the same conclusion. It maybe took you a different path, but I thought it was interesting to see how you figure that out without the clue that I had. That was like pretty big clue.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see that. I agree. I thought watching it while someone else while having already played it, watching you play it was really enjoyable.
It might be the best way to play it. You might want to try that. Like if you
fun.
enjoy this game and you're a type of person who likes to play a game before you introduce it to your group, you're not gonna lose much by playing this and then introducing it
and
to
just
them
watching
and just watching and having fun. Because you're still like, there was still plenty of times where I could help Emily, where I had these decks out and I was like, okay, what did you see? And I'll pull those out for her faster, or I'll have these almost ready to go, but I'm waiting. I know that she's about to read the thing that's going to pull those out, so I do that for her. So I still had fun, and I still wrote, like, I was like, I'm your, and if you watch Franny Fisher's thing, I'm your little secretary that follows you around and writes everything down for you. So like, she'll tell me things to write down. Right. That was fun. That was a great experience that I'll always remember. Like it's a very solid game. I don't know if it would be in my top 20, but if with more campaigns, it might hit that. It might find its way up there.
So not a grand slam, but very much up there.
Absolutely.
We both really liked this one.
Yeah.
This is definitely my favorite. Now, I will say this is Chronicles of Crime 1900, the Millennium series.
Okay.
They're also doing 1400 and 2400.
2400 sounds right.
Are the 3 that
like
make up the
cyberpunk
Millennium
future
series, right? I think 1400 is out, but 2400 is not. I don't know. I don't want to get into that because I'm not 100% certain. But
we're here to talk about 1900.
Yeah, that's right. And I think
the golden age
of what I've played, this is the best Chronicles of Crime to date. And of course, it helps that it's a standalone game that you do not need anything else to jump right in other than this box right here.
Absolutely.
It's a hit for us.
Absolutely.
Anyways,
this
thank you
week
for watching.
Sponsored by Franny Fisher's. No, I'm just kidding.
No, we're keeping it now. Thank you for watching Crime Week. We appreciate you checking it out. As always, do not forget to like and subscribe. And in the case of Crime Week, join the giveaway. We're going to have details at the beginning, description, and end of every video to make sure you know how to get in. We'll see you next time.
Dang it! How do we? What did I?
I don't know. You made an odd cut. Now it's
Dang it!
It's gonna be hard to come back now.
Dang it!